Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This is Troy from Cichlid Bros. In today's video, my brothers Quinn and Alec are going to join me as we compile and present our top 10 cichlids for beginners. Hopefully this video will give you ideas for stocking your next tank or adding your next fish. We're really excited to walk through this one, and guys, let's dive right in. So we based a majority of this list based on tank size requirements, how aggressive a fish can be, and especially how hardy some of these cichlids can be. A lot of these fish are readily available at your big box fish stores, and they're very common in the hobby today. A main theme you'll see for all of these fish is just the tank size. Knowing that a beginner might not have a 180 gallon aquarium or a big tank like that, we've tried to focus the list on some of the fish that fit in a 75 gallon tank or even smaller sizes depending on the cichlid. As always though, the bigger the tank you can provide, the better. And with that being said, let's pass it over to Quinn for number 10 on the list.
Hey, what's up guys? Quinn here. Starting us off here at number 10 is one of our all-time favorite cichlids, the Jack Dempsey. So my Jack Dempsey is in the 110 gallon Classroom Predator cichlid tank. And I also have Jack Jr. in my 29 gallon grow out tank. Jack was the first cichlid I ever owned and is what made me obsessed with cichlid keeping. They are one of the hardiest cichlids you will ever find. I inherited and rescued Jack from a teacher who had passed away and his tank was extremely dirty. I fixed up his tank all those years ago and now he's an awesome colorful adult. I really don't know what other fish could have made it through that situation, but I'm glad Jack did here. They are Central American cichlids that can usually do well in a tank with similar sized American cichlids and some of the larger barbs and tetras. The main reason Jack Dempseys are number 10 on the list and not higher is that some of them can be aggressive. It can be a little bit of a challenge to manage that aggression if you're new to cichlids, but most Jack Dempseys we've had are actually pretty docile.
Coming in at number 9 on our list is the Sciaenochromis Fryeri, the electric blue hap. I have one in my 125 gallon Malawi hap tank, and although he is one of the smaller ones in this tank currently, he holds his own. These fish are great beginner cichlids because they are very compatible with a wide range of African cichlid setups, whether it's predatory haps like mine, common haps, peacocks, any combination of that, and even mbuna in the right situation. They're also great because the males show a bright blue color really early on, so you don't have to wait for that color up. Although they stay about 6-7 inches in length, I would recommend a minimum of 75 gallon tank because they are open water swimmers. Due to their wide range of tank mates and bright blue color, Sciaenochromis Fryeri makes a great beginner cichlid. Number 8 on the list is the Kribensis Cichlid. Kribensis is often available at the big box stores like Petco and PetSmart, and they are good options for beginners due to their smaller size, great color, and peaceful nature for a cichlid. They can go well in most community setups and are usually docile. Tank size can also be relatively modest at around 30 to 40 gallons being sufficient. They come from West African river systems, so they aren't really categorized or even similar to the Rift Lake Africans like mbuna, peacocks, and haps. Overall, they're a good choice if you are looking for a smaller community cichlid.
Coming in at number 7 on the list is the Apistogramma. They are one of my favorite all-time cichlids and they come in a ton of varieties and colors. I currently have an Apistogramma in this desktop aquarium next to me here. Since the Apistogramma can stay pretty small, they are perfect for beginners. They can comfortably fit in a 20 gallon tank and they are also peaceful and can go with most community fish. In fact, they were our top choice on our list for top 10 community cichlids. I have a Apistogramma magmasteri here, and he's been an awesome centerpiece for a smaller tank. I wanted to have a desktop aquarium as I was working from home during the pandemic, and this Apistogramma has been my buddy and really helped me get through the day. It's a very active fish and has a ton of great color. He's always greeting me and wanting more food. It's just an awesome cichlid to keep that I would really recommend for a beginner.
Coming in at number 6 on our list is one of the best options for beginners looking to keep African cichlids, the yellowtail Acei. In general, mbuna are aggressive and are kept in overstocked tanks to mitigate that aggression. However, the yellowtail Acei is relatively peaceful and can be kept with pretty much any other mbuna. They have a bluish purple body with a yellow fin, and I had one in my 55 gallon mbuna setup, and it was a great fish to watch. I would recommend keeping them in a tank of 55 gallons or larger with any mbuna, and they will usually do really well and not cause any problems with aggression.
Coming in at number 5 on the list is the Severum. I currently have 3 Severum cichlids in my 180 gallon aquarium here, including Big Red. I love the Severum due to its many color variations and its overall peaceful nature. They really are gentle giants, and most of the time will just slowly float around in the tank. They seem to be very smart and always sizing me up, always wanting food. My single favorite fish I've ever kept is Big Red here. He's a red spot gold Severum, or just a gold Severum, but he's been such a great tank mate over the years to everyone in this aquarium. The great thing about Severums is that they can hold their own against larger tank mates, but also go well with smaller fish since they have small mouths and are relatively peaceful. Severums are very hardy cichlids as well, making them perfect for beginners. They do get large though, so I would recommend a 55 gallon tank at minimum, but a 75 gallon or greater would really be ideal. Just a great cichlid to keep, and I highly recommend them. Another great option for a beginner is the electric blue Acara. As you can see, they have bright blue colors, and they have that at a young age and all throughout their adulthood. The pop of color looks amazing when you have a community aquarium, especially a community of cichlids. I have one in my 180 gallon aquarium here, and they do well with a lot of the other American cichlids. From as big as the Oscar to as small as the keyhole cichlid, they have a large range of compatibility. They really hold their own against some of the more aggressive fish out there as well. They max out around 6 to 7 inches in total length, so you don't need a massive tank to keep them. They are pretty active swimmers though, so I would recommend a 55 gallon or larger if you can. Mine swims back and forth all day long and provides a lot of activity to the tank, along with that bright blue color. Electric blue Acara are relatively hardy as well, and they're not to be confused with the electric blue Jack Dempsey, which has a reputation of being difficult to keep. I will always have at least one electric blue Acara in one of my aquariums, as they are just the best.
Number 3 on our list is the yellow lab. Another type of mbuna cichlid. The yellow lab is similar to the yellowtail Acei in the fact that they are pretty peaceful when it comes to African cichlids and show bright color right away. If you're looking for the best beginner African cichlid, I would recommend the yellow lab. They are bright yellow with black tips for their fins, so the color looks great in any aquarium. They complement the colors that you'll find with other mbuna species. Yellow labs can hold their own with more aggressive tank mates and generally won't be the ones causing problems in the tank. I would set up their tank with a lot of rocks and rock caves with good filtration and water movement, and I think you'll have success keeping the yellow lab.
So coming in at number 2 on the list is the Firemouth Cichlid. So firemouths are generally very hardy fish and can work well in a variety of different setups. They usually work very well with different American cichlids, but can also work in some community tanks with some tetras and barbs. They usually tend to keep to themselves, although if you do have 2 in a tank, they might flare up at each other. Overall, they are one of the more peaceful Central American cichlids. They stay a modest size at around 6 inches in max length, so a 40 breeder for one or a 55 gallon for more of a community would work well. Their color is awesome, with bright red around the bottom and a dark gray body with blue spangling on their fins. The males get trailers to their fins as well and can be a great centerpiece fish. Due to their relatively peaceful nature, their hardiness, and modest tank size, they would be a great cichlid for a beginner. Coming in at number 1 on the list is the Convict Cichlid. Convicts are one of the most hardy fish on the entire planet. For being such a small cichlid, I've seen them thrive and hold their own against much larger fish. I've had a female in my 75 gallon classroom aquarium, and she's done really well with the Jack Dempsey, Green Terror, and Salvini, some of the more aggressive American cichlids. I've even seen them bully larger fish like Oscars. They stay small at about 5 inches in total length, so they don't need a massive aquarium. 30 gallons or larger would be sufficient for one of them. They are also one of the most prolific breeders in the hobby, so if you want to experience breeding, they are the easiest option out there. Just keep in mind that they will get aggressive during breeding and will have hundreds of babies in no time. So sometimes it's best not to have a male and a female together and just avoid the issue altogether. They also have great color patterns with vertical stripes in gray and black colors. The females will look even better with a bit of pinkish red color on their lower side. Because these cichlids are so hardy, they don't require a huge tank, and they breed so readily, it's the perfect cichlid for a beginner to experience a wide range of what the hobby has to offer. I did a full care guide on the Convict recently, and I'll leave that in the description if you're interested in hearing more.
Okay, so now just a few quick honorable mentions to this list, starting with the Oscar. I originally didn't have the Oscar on this list just because they get so massive, and the beginner aquarist may not have a 75 gallon or larger, preferably larger for an Oscar, and so I cut them from the list even though they are a relatively easy cichlid to keep as long as you have the tank size to hold them. Another cichlid that almost made the list is the Rainbow Cichlid. I currently have one in my 75 gallon aquarium and he's really peaceful, but he also holds his own against the Nicaraguan and different South American cichlids as well. A really great fish to keep, and I do think it would be a pretty good one for beginners if you can find them at your local fish stores. And then lastly, I think some of the different rams could be good for a beginner aquarist just because they stay pretty small. Some of the rams require some different parameters, but at least the Bolivian ram is one that I would recommend for a beginner. It does have some good color and the tank size isn't too crazy, so it could be good for a beginner as well. Okay, so that does it for our top 10 list on beginner cichlids. Hope you enjoyed that and found it interesting. Also, if we missed any cichlids that you feel belong on this list, make sure to comment those down below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.